Did you know the reason most people don't succeed in Google My Business is because they have no time? No time to SEO. You may have found that 30 days was just too much all in one go. And understandably, it was a challenge. Some of you managed it. A lot of you perhaps have just handpicked a couple of videos along the way. But the fact is, you still want that massive traffic that would come from 30 consistent days. And there are things you can still do so that you don't miss out on that massive traffic that you could have received. So it's day 30, the last day. I'm going to pick out now the 13 most important tips that I could give you from the 30 days that we've spent together. These 30 tips will have an immediate impact on your traffic if you apply them today. And I've heard from quite a few of you that have already seen great growth in your traffic over the past 30 days. So thank you for sending that information through. So here are my best 13 small business tips to help you grow your business. And we're going to start with number 1, Insights. Now, Insights is just a place you can find information about what you're doing. It gives you the keywords, it tells you how people contact you, it gives you ideas as to what keywords are working currently and bringing in traffic. So if you're familiar with analytics, you'll know that Insights is a very shortened version of analytics, but is specifically aimed for giving you that information through Google My Business. But Insights isn't just about traffic and understanding keywords, it's also about understanding how your branding is improving. And so you'll notice that over the past 30 days, I've often spoken about the importance of getting your brand known. Use the logo, make sure that you use keywords also that bring emphasis onto your brand. So you need to look to see what quality traffic have you had coming in since you started making the changes from day 1. And if you haven't made many changes, then you need to focus on Insights going forward as well. So notice what's worked, what hasn't worked. If something's working, increase it. So if you're getting more views through photos, if you're seeing a certain keyword being used that people are finding you through maps or through searches, then carry on using those things and you'll then see further growth. Now, tip number 2 is a course. Now, of course, this was a 30-day challenge. It is a course. It's a free course. But a lot of you have asked, could you have that spreadsheet that I showed earlier on that had shown 3 months basically of work to get these videos put together? I've done better than that. What I've decided to do is I put all that information that I've used for these videos, all of the images, all the charts, all the extra videos that perhaps have been linked in as well, all the extra tools that I've referred to. I've put it all together along with some bonus information, and I've produced a mini website for you to go to now. And on that mini website, you'll see all 30 days. You'll be able to go along the navigation and you'll be able to see that extra information I've added there for you. So every link, tool, image, chart, information is all there, plus the bonus content too. So all you need to do is go to zanet.co.uk/boost my business. I'll put a link down below and you'll be able to then see how that works. But not just that, I've also put together the complete playlist as well. So if you wanted to, you can click on the playlist, which again I'll have at the end of the video. So for those that watch this video to the end, you'll be given the special link to the playlist that will give you every single day that you can go through in order so you haven't missed anything at all. Now, tip number 3 is categories. But understanding that categories affect your Google My Business listing altogether. So often you'll find things are missing from my videos to what you have. Why? Well, it'll be down to the fact that your category is different to mine. Mine's a web designing category. Yours might be a category for, say, a restaurant. So you'll have extra features that I won't. So Google My Business, the team, they'll add certain features and they'll decide which categories get those features. So it could be that you find a competitor has something you can't do, but it could be if you notice their category is different. So it's important to understand that categories affect the whole of your listing. So choosing the right primary category is key. Secondary categories can help, but the primary category is how your whole business is going to be set up going forward. So you want to make sure you don't miss that. That was covered earlier in one of my videos, which I'll put a link to a bit later on. Tip number 4 is customers. Now, putting customers above Google is key. Most people seem to think they have to convince Google first, but actually you'll notice in my 30 days that the customer comes first. So if you're thinking of keywords, that's great, that helps Google. but it has to make sense to the customer first. So what is it that your customers are doing regarding your competitor's site, and why is it they're going there and they're not coming to you? Well, sometimes you can learn quite a lot from your competitors. So there's a brilliant tool that's just been released today. I've been given first dibs of it to show you. And here you can then see, you can check out what your competitors are, how you're competing against them, and it's totally free. It's a brilliant tool. So all you need to do is just put in what it is your category, then you put in what your company is, and it will then tell you how you do against the competition. But the advantage of this is it will show you who your competition is and how far away you are from them beating them. So a really useful tool here, totally free, link down below as well for you. And although we're saying customers first, keywords do have quite a lot of importance to help your customers find you. So your customers know what keywords they use when they search in Google. You need to find out what it is they're using. So that's how you put your customers first, but at the same time you help Google then give the right customers to the right business. You want to be that right business. Tip number 5 is all about posts. Now, so often I say on this channel to regularly update your posts. And we've tried throughout these 30 days different types of posts. What's new posts, offer posts, product posts even we've just recently done. But when it comes to posts, just think in terms of that Alex Chew example. Now again, I'll put a link to this where you can see that Alex Chew recognised that every pixel has a value. And we worked out that it would be $218,000 if you took pixel by pixel what your post is worth. Now obviously it doesn't bring that type of income in, but the fact that you can have regular posts for free is free advertising through Google. So don't miss out on the importance of regularly putting out a post at least once a week. 3 or 4 times a week would be even better. Why at least once a week? Because after 7 days, your post is lost. Tip number 6 is offers. Now just think in terms of offers through Google My Business, so you can do that through posts as well. They're really powerful. They can really capture people's interest. They also use an H2 tag. So from an SEO point of view, we looked at the reason as to why that was so powerful. But secondly, also you can do offers to your followers. So if you've downloaded the Google My Business app, you'll know you can have followers and you can do a special opening offer to your followers. Now that might not fit every type of business type, but most people don't know about that. So that's my next tip, is just find out if you've got any offers, you can use them through Google My Business and you can use them through the app. So tip number 007 is empathy. Empathy is about feeling for your customers, putting yourself in your customer's shoes, imagining what it's like to be one of your customers. It's quite sobering sometimes to think that way. But simply put, you are the business client suddenly. So what's working? What do you like about your business? But also, what don't you like about the way that you're doing business? Try and think it through from their point of view. What can you do to attract new customers? What is it that your customers are saying they like about other businesses around you? Do they mention concerns about the price, the guarantees? Are they looking for a product that you don't do? Well, if you're thinking of your customers, then you'll make those changes. And that's where empathy comes in business. It's important to understand what people are thinking and saying about you. Now, tip number 8 is photos. Now, photos clearly have an impact on the amount of traffic you get to your Google My Business. And of course, Google My Business then has links out to your website, your booking and so on. So potentially you could get a lot more traffic through your photos if they're added on a regular basis. They produce a lot of views. I will say that at the moment, videos don't seem to be working very well. Certainly in the UK, they're not working so well at this time. So I'm not too sure what Google's doing with that. But Google do certainly reward, and they show you through insights and through analytics that customer photos is the key thing at the moment. So when you speak to your customers, can you get them to upload photos of the work, the services, the products that you've produced? If you can, then that will go down really well in Google's algorithm at this time. And if you want to know more about that, on day 4, we did a video that showed you how you get huge traffic through Google Photos. So look out for that. Now, tip number 9 is keywords. Now, we've mentioned keywords earlier, and keywords are about the words that are used in the search engines, but keywords are changing all the time because people are now using voice recognition as a way of searching too. So recognize that people now use different words to what they used a few years ago. So even with local SEO, certain words are used that aren't used in general SEO. So understanding that, understanding how keywords work, and understanding the tools you can use to find out what your clients are using as keywords is a really helpful way of making progress. That'll give you a great understanding of your customers, which will mean in time they'll want to come to you because you understand them. Tip number 10 was strategies. So think of your strategy. If you have no strategy, you won't progress. If you don't progress, you won't get traffic. If you don't get traffic, the algorithm thinks that the business isn't doing very well. And so you'll just sink further and further. So you have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy with Google My Business. And that's one of the things we looked at. And strategies adjust according to what Insights tells you and according to what your customers are telling you too. So you need to have a strategy. I put together 3 small little plans, little strategies that you can follow through in that video, and you can follow through here as well. Tip number 11 is to get reviews. Everyone seems to want to get reviews. Reviews are probably the most evident way in which you're doing well. If people give you some great reviews, you tend to feel that your business is doing well. And of course, they have a very positive impact on other people considering to do business with you. So how do you get reviews? Well, I put together an email as to how you could ask for reviews, and you'll see that it's here. Again, if you go to the website, you'll be able to download that particular review letter, and it's had great success. So try it out, see if that works for you. So that's my tip number 11. Tip number 12 is NAP, N-A-P, but it stands for name, address, phone number, and you can add to that website, you can add to that other credibility things that are needed. But basically Google, as much as it builds up its own understanding of your business, it likes to get reassurance from others too. So citations and indexes, they tend to also give you credibility. So think not just in terms of Google My Business, but think in terms of everything else outside of that. Is that supporting the consistency of what you told Google when you put together your Google My Business listing? So your name, address and phone number need to be the same. Most people don't even worry too much about whether they're the same or not. What my suggestion would be to you, and my tip would be to you, is use your Google My Business listing as the go-to source. Copy and paste that into all the other areas. So if you're putting together Facebook, Yale, Apple, wherever you're going and you're filling in information, use the Google My Business listing as the basis for that information. Now, if they're asking for information you haven't got in Google My Business, well, that's different. But certainly your name, address, phone number needs to be identical. And when we say identical, even things like the hours that you use, your opening hours, that can make a difference to whether or not you're credible in Google. And tip number 13 is control. Do you really have control over your Google My Business listing? Well, some of it you do. In fact, probably 70% of it you do. But there's about 30% you have no control over. And there's maybe a few bits in between that are grey areas too. But we had a really interesting video about the knowledge panel and how getting control over those things is difficult to do in some areas. So are you aware of what you can control? And are you aware of what you can't control? And are you aware of who is controlling the things that you can't control? Well, that's an important part of understanding local SEO. And particularly if you can make time for that video, then that'll be one that I'd certainly recommend that you look at, which again, I'll put a link above as well for you to go straight over after this video. So although at the moment you may not have any time to follow through on the 30 days, those were 13 tips that are probably the most important ones of the 30 days that we spent together. But also it's given you a glimpse into seeing the types of things we covered in the 30 days. So if you've only managed a handful of those days, go back on this playlist now, which I'll leave a link to, and then make sure you don't miss the important days that are going to help your business grow, because it's a small investment, but it will require a little bit of time. No time for SEO, just make a bit of time for it today and it could have quite a difference.